In this video, we're uncovering two secret energy stocks that could quietly become some of the biggest winners of the entire AI revolution. These are not companies chasing hype. These are companies building the backbone that everything else depends on. The kind of businesses that do not just benefit from growth but enable it. Because as AI scales, one thing becomes painfully clear. The technology is about to break the global energy system. The real bottleneck is not chips, it is not software, it is power, and that is exactly where this first company comes in. NuScale Power, ticker symbol SMR. To really understand NuScale, you have to start with the problem it is solving. AI data centers are not normal infrastructure, they are energy monsters. Training large-scale AI models, running inference at scale, supporting cloud ecosystems. All of it requires massive continuous electricity, not intermittent, not seasonal, constant. And demand is not just growing, it is exploding. There are projections showing that AI-driven data center power demand could triple between 2024 and 2030. Now think about what that means. The current energy grid was not built for that kind of surge. Renewable energy, while important, is not always reliable. Solar shuts down at night. Wind fluctuates. Battery storage is still limited at scale. What AI needs is something different. Reliable, always-on, high-density power. That is nuclear. But traditional nuclear has one major problem. It is slow, expensive, and incredibly difficult to build. Large plants can take over a decade to complete, with billions in upfront capital and constant regulatory friction. NuScale is solving that exact problem. Instead of building massive nuclear plants, NuScale builds small modular reactors. These are compact nuclear units that can be manufactured in a controlled environment, shipped to a site, and assembled faster than traditional plants. That changes everything. Because now you are not talking about one massive project. You are talking about scalable deployment. Add capacity as demand grows. Build closer to the end user. Reduce construction risk. And here is where it ties directly into AI. NuScale's reactors can be deployed behind the meter. That means directly supplying power to data centers instead of relying entirely on the grid. That is a massive advantage. Because one of the biggest constraints for AI companies right now is not just generating power, it is accessing it. Transmission bottlenecks, grid limitations, and regional shortages are becoming real issues. NuScale bypasses that. From a competitive standpoint, this is where the moat becomes very clear. NuScale is the only company in the United States with a Nuclear Regulatory Commission-approved SMR design. That is not just a technical milestone, that is a regulatory moat. Most competitors are still years away from achieving that level of approval. And in an industry like nuclear, regulatory approval is everything. Without it, you do not exist. This gives NuScale a first-mover advantage that is incredibly difficult to replicate. Now let's talk about how the business actually scales. NuScale is not just selling reactors, it is building long-term infrastructure relationships. Utilities, governments, and large industrial customers are not making short-term decisions here. These are multi-decade commitments. That creates recurring, predictable demand. And as AI infrastructure expands, those relationships become even more valuable. There is also a strategic layer here that most investors overlook. Hyperscale companies are becoming major energy buyers. They are no longer just tech companies, they are infrastructure companies, and they need direct control over their energy supply. NuScale is targeting exactly that market. There are already large-scale programs being discussed, including multi-gigawatt deployments aimed at supporting massive power demand. That is where the upside comes from, because once one major deployment proves successful, it creates a blueprint for others. Now, from a financial standpoint, NuScale is still early. Revenue is relatively small compared to its long-term potential. The company has generated tens of millions in revenue while operating at a much larger valuation. But this is typical for infrastructure plays at this stage. You are not investing in current earnings. You are investing in future capacity. The key is whether that capacity gets built. And that is where risk comes in. Projects can be delayed. Costs can increase. Partnerships can fall apart. Nuclear is not an easy business. But if it works, the payoff is enormous. Because you are effectively owning a piece of the energy backbone of the AI economy. Now step back and think about that. Every AI model, every data center, every cloud service, all of it depends on power. And if demand continues to rise the way it is expected to, companies like NuScale move from optional to essential. That is the shift the market has not fully priced in yet. This is not just an energy stock. This is a foundational infrastructure play on the future of AI. If this resonates with you, you're exactly who this channel is for. People who are ready to stop losing money in the market and take their investment portfolio to the next level. Hit the like button, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next important financial investing update. Remember to do your own research before you invest in any stock. Now let's take it a step further with the second company on our list, Oklo, ticker symbol OKLO. If NuScale is about scaling nuclear energy across regions, Oklo is about bringing nuclear directly to where power is needed most. This is where the story becomes even more disruptive. Oklo is not just building smaller reactors, it is building microreactors designed for localized high-demand environments. Think data centers, industrial sites, remote operations. Instead of feeding power into the grid, Oklo is bringing power directly to the customer. And in an AI-driven world, that is a massive shift, because one of the biggest hidden problems in energy is not generation, it is distribution. Even if you produce enough power, getting it to where it is needed can be inefficient, expensive, and slow. Oklo eliminates that problem. By co-locating reactors with demand centers, it reduces reliance on grid infrastructure and minimizes transmission losses. That creates a more efficient system. Now layer AI on top of that. AI infrastructure is becoming more decentralized. Companies are building data centers in new regions to reduce latency and improve performance. But those locations do not always have the power capacity needed. Oklo solves that. This is why the company already has a growing pipeline of deals with major data center and tech customers. And this is not theoretical demand. There are real agreements being signed. For example, Oklo has been involved in major discussions to supply nuclear power for large-scale AI data center projects, including partnerships tied to multi-gigawatt facilities. That is a signal. Big tech is not waiting for the grid to catch up. They are actively securing their own power sources. Oklo is positioning itself right in the middle of that trend. Now let's talk about the technology. Oklo's reactors are designed to run for long periods without refueling. That reduces operational complexity and cost. It also improves reliability. The company is also exploring advanced fuel strategies, including the use of recycled nuclear material. This is not just about generating power, it is about doing it more efficiently and sustainably. From a strategic standpoint, this gives Oklo a different kind of moat. It is not just regulatory approval or engineering expertise, it is integration. Oklo is embedding itself directly into the infrastructure of its customers, and that creates long-term relationships that are hard to replace. Now let's talk numbers. Oklo currently has a market cap around $9 billion, significantly higher than NuScale. That tells you something. The market is already assigning a premium to its business model and growth potential. There are also expectations around its first reactor deployment, which is projected around 2027. That timeline matters, because once the first reactor goes live, it transitions the company from concept to reality, and that is when valuation multiples can shift dramatically. However, you have to be clear about the risks. Oklo is still early, very early. It has limited revenue today. Much of its valuation is based on future expectations and partnerships. Some analysts even compare it to early-stage biotech companies, where outcomes can be binary. Either the technology scales or it does not. But that is also where the opportunity lies. Because if it works, the upside is not incremental, it is exponential. Now here is the bigger picture. AI demand is forcing a rethink of the entire energy system. Traditional infrastructure cannot keep up. Renewables alone cannot provide consistent power. And nuclear is stepping back into the spotlight as a solution. Oklo represents the next evolution of that solution. Not massive plants, not centralized grids, but distributed high-efficiency power systems built around demand. And if that model takes hold, it could reshape how energy is delivered globally. Now before we wrap up, I want to share something with you. This video is brought to you by Value Stocks Investing Master Course. If you're looking to grow your wealth by investing in solid, undervalued stocks, but not sure where to start, I created the Value Stocks Investing Master Course to teach you how to identify great companies, make smart investment decisions, and build a portfolio that lasts. Click the link in the description and pinned comments to get the course today and take control of your financial future. If you want exclusive stock tips, in-depth analysis, real-time trade alerts, and free investing guides, join the Stocks Galore Patreon today and take your investing game to the next level. Our members get full in-depth analysis on most of the stocks mentioned here. Head over to patreon.com/stocksgalore and become part of our growing community of smart investors. Link is in the description. Now here is a question for you. Which company has the stronger long-term advantage in powering AI? The scalable, grid-level approach of NuScale, or the localized, decentralized model of Oklo? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do not forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you do not miss the next important investing update. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.